Randi Weingarten. I'm the president of 1.5 million member American Federation of Teachers, a union that supported this march 50 years ago. But first, I am proud to introduce a very important student activist, Sean Johnson. Okay, I'll hold it for you. I'll hold it, you speak.
You want me to hold it?
Come on, go, Sean.
August 28, 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and thousands of others marched on Washington for jobs and freedom. Congressman John Lewis was the youngest speaker, and now 50 years later, I am the youngest speaker. And I am marching for education, justice, and freedom. All over the country, public education is under attack. Public schools are closing in African American and Latino communities. In Chicago, we have 50 school closings in African American and Latino communities. Budget cuts in all public schools and an increase in charter school budgets and new charter school openings. Every child deserves a great education. Every school deserves equal funding and resources. I encourage all of you to keep Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream alive. Help us fight for freedom, racial equality, jobs, public education, because I have a dream that we shall overcome.
Woo!
Wait, I ain't done it. Because
that is our future, and that is what we are fighting for, and that is what we fought for 50 years ago, and that is what we are fighting for now. Dr. King's oration 50 years ago helped us create a better world, although we do not yet have the world that Dr. King dreamed of. So this must not be a commemoration. This must be a continuation of that righteous fight to achieve racial and economic opportunity at the voting booth, in our schools, in our workplaces, and in our communities. Yes, much remains to be done. It's been decades since the Birmingham police turned water cannons and police dogs on peaceful protesters. But it's only been months since the U.S. Supreme Court rolled back voting rights. And every day, in fact, every 30 minutes, a child is a victim of gun violence. The whites-only signs may be gone, but there are still signs of injustice all around us. Children born poor today are likely to stay poor. High-poverty schools where kids need so much are given the least. And discrimination based on race or sexual orientation may no longer be legal, but it is still lethal. Martin Luther King Jr., Bayard Rustin, A. Philip Randolph, and John Lewis understood the intersection between racial equality and economic justice. The civil rights struggle is a struggle for good jobs and decent wages. And while not the only solution, they got that educational opportunity is the highway to economic opportunity, which is why we must reclaim the promise of public education. And as I close, let me just say this. We stand here today, a student, my friend and brother Lee Saunders, and myself. 50 years ago, another gay person, Bayard Rustin, had to be in the shadows. But today, I speak as a teacher, a worker, a labor activist, and a gay person deeply committed to my faith. This is who we must be, not only a country that believes in equality, but a country that acts on that belief. So let's take a lesson from King. Let's unite people of faith in a national day of prayer to end child poverty. Let's use sit-ins to oppose stand your ground laws. Let's have freedom ring for the message of equality. to states that regard immigrants and same-sex couples as anything less than equal. And let's all of us, not simply educators, not simply parents or kids, stage nonviolent protests in districts that fail to invest in public education, that turn their back on struggling schools. We cannot let a Sean down. We cannot let generations of students down. That is why we march. That is why we march. That is why we march.